All right. Hello, everyone. Sorry, probably not too many people on the live stream today. I forgot to follow up my tweet yesterday with sharing this. It actually had the wrong date to begin with anyway, but whatever. Let's get started. Today or this particular stream, I want to go back and add tests for this application. Again, this is a long-lived client. It's a real-world application that's been out there for probably about 10 years, and it seems every 3 or 4 years they come back to me and they say, hey, do this, or we got to upgrade, or we got to do that. So yesterday in the last stream, we ran all of the shifts to upgrade from Laravel 7 to Laravel 11. We did that blindly. The application didn't have any tests to begin with, so I just went ahead and ran the shifts. I'm going to trust it, but to prove that the upgrade was successful, and again to help me with future maintenance, I'm going to go ahead and add some tests. And the fastest way to do that is to again use shift and run the test generator. So let's see how this does. Let's jump right in. We are going to run shift. We were already on the page. We can just go run shift here. I'm going to sign in with GitHub. We saw that everything was on there. And let me just steal that again. Cool, awesome. All right. And let's go back here. Boop, boop. There we go. I think all the let me make sure I didn't do anything local. GST. Oh, good. Git push git push. We don't need to do that. It's already got upstream mapped. Okay, everything's pushed up from yesterday. I did make 2 small commits off stream just to fix a couple of those small issues. Run composer update. Nothing relating to the upgrade really. Just some internal maintenance. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this shift. And this one will probably take a second. The test generator and the Laravel fixer are the only 2 shifts that actually attempt to install your application. They install your application, they run composer update or composer install, technically. And from there, they run things like artisan route list or certain artisan commands to get your application kind of working. So unfortunately, it looks like we already hit an issue here. Let's go see what this is. It looks like it wasn't able to run. Did I not merge everything? Maybe I didn't merge everything. I'm wondering if I didn't merge cat composer JSON. Let's see why this failed. Do I still have the Laravel collective in here? No, we've merged in the Spassy stuff. That should be good. Well, I tell you what, let me go full screen me for a second because I got to sign into the shift. Let's sign into the shift build server, and let me just look at the raw log and see why this might have failed. It's probably something silly. Cannot run route list, pusher construct, pusher. Why are you trying to run pusher? Shouldn't be running pusher in this environment. Why are you doing that? So the composer install ran according to logs. That's all good. The problem though is that it's trying to run pusher as the broadcast service. Why would you do that by default? Oh, this is actually in my code. Okay, let me get out of the server here. Let's push a little patch for this. Let me clear all this out. Okay. Back to not full screen me. There you go. Okay, let's get into the code, project X. I see what's going on here. This is kind of a order of operations, kind of an annoyance here. If we look at this process badge request archive, I'm actually newing up pusher right here and forcing it to use the pusher key. So I'm going to comment this out. You have to realize that in Laravel, some things, they get, again, when you might not think it, but when you run these composer commands, a lot of your application is getting booted up. Technically speaking, all of your controllers get newed up, all of your commands get newed up. Anything that's auto-loaded by the framework actually gets newed up, and an instance of that object exists. So to the point of this code, kind of going back to a second, be mindful what you do in your constructors. If you're running a lot of queries, if you're newing up objects that connect to things, third-party services, all that's happening just when you simply run an artisan command. So in this case, that's why the test generator failed, is again, it's a very involved shift compared to the other ones. It's actually dynamically, running your application interactively, kind of in real time. Whereas a lot of the other stuff, a lot of the other shifts, the upgrade shifts, they just perform static analysis. They look at the code statically, not at runtime, not through reflection, not dynamically. Anyway, let's do git add dot, git commit -m, temporarily patch for TG test generator. All right, let's git push that. I'm gonna go back to Shift's interface, and we should be able to just rerun this directly. So let's give that a second. It did run pretty quick. It just unfortunately failed. So let's see. Ooh, that coffee's a bit bitter. All right. Where are we? Still queuing. Queuing. You shouldn't be queuing yet. You should be running. That's strange. I'm going to refresh this page. It is running. There we go. Finished. All right, cool. Let's see what the test generator gave us. And I got a hard stop here in about a half hour, but hopefully I can write a command, or sorry, I can write a test for one of the commands and one of the kind of big controllers. So we'll kind of get that working, and then I'll backfill the rest off stream. And then in the next one, we can set up CI. So, okay, let's see here. Include helpful test packages, generate model factories. Let's kind of see how it did with these things. So again, there's no tests in this application. I only have a couple models, not many really. So we see here badge accessory request, and badge color. There actually should be a few more, so it's interesting that it didn't find the rest. I'll have to check the shift logs. I wonder if it found them and then it just, they failed for some reason. But anyway, it's generating the factories, or at least a sample factory for me here. So we have location, does a location factory, address, state factory, that's nice. Requester ID generates a user. So it picked up all the relationships, postal codes, postal code, email. So the factory generator, this is an open source package from Shift. It kind of just goes in and analyzes these things, and either based on your names or based on the data type, it figures out kind of what to put in here. So city, address, it did a pretty good job on this, this particular one. And then the color, name, description, description, word, not so hot there. That's kind of the default, but I'm actually really impressed with this particular one. So that's pretty good. Okay, so we generated some factories, the HTTP test for controllers. Again, this just goes in and analyzes your controller actions and generates a stub for these. Now it's way better than Artisan Make because it's kind of an intelligent stub, but it's not necessarily all encompassing. So for example, we see here edit, it makes a user, it makes sure that we're authenticated as that user because this is editing an account. And then at its basis, it just makes sure that you got a 200 and that the view return statement or redirect statement or whatever it was kind of happened. And then it leaves this to do for you to kind of make more things. So in this case, maybe the user gets passed down to the view. I don't know what other things this does, but again, it wired it up. It gave us a really intelligent stub. The rest is kind of your business logic to test for. So that's kind of the other bit. I think the rest of this stuff is pretty straightforward. Again, it gives us the stubs for console commands as well. So we'll fill in the blanks. We'll fill in that to-do here in just a second. But let's finish reviewing this. Okay, so it claims that Shift could not generate factories. It did. It failed on a couple of them, though, because I know that there's a few more models than just what we saw. So I'll have to look at the Shift logs at why maybe it didn't pick up all these. So I'm going to leave this comment for a second. These two things we can default, so we know how to do that. Let's go ahead and check out this branch since we're going to start working on it. So let's do a git fetch upstream. And we'll do a git check out that. And then I want to use that GDF command So the get default file, 11.x now on PHP unit. And then same thing here. Let's do a get default file 11.x on that. All right, so we got those core files patched up. It generated 12 controller tests or HTTP tests. Awesome. It generated 7 form requests. Great. The form request ones are really lightweight. We'll look at them here. It's just kind of a sanity check. I have a whole blog post on like why I test validation that way. So anyway, clean this up. Yeah, just a little upsell for the course there, pairs nicely with that. And then we will run the CI generator tomorrow. So I'm gonna leave these 2 comments more for me to kind of review and look at. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Hey JMac, hey Lewis, hey Samuel, how's it going? Yeah, GDF, somebody asked yesterday about GDF. It seems like it's got a little bit of interest. Someone emailed me about it too, actually. So 3 of like the 10 people watching the live stream asked about GDF. I will share it on Twitter, but basically what it does, I mentioned it yesterday, but it goes out to Laravel, and basically whatever second argument I pass it, the tag or the series, in this case 11.x, it takes from that branch that particular file. So it's just running underneath, it's basically just running like a curl command to get the raw output from GitHub for that particular file, for that particular Laravel, series, if you will, or major version, 11.x, 10.x, 6.x, and then it goes all the way down. I mean, any branch here, 5.8, 5.7, anything, so long as the file exists, it'll pull that down and then overwrite mine. So if we do a git status, we'll see that those 2 files are now the default versions from Laravel. I work on these projects, these upgrades so much that just defaulting that file, again, is just kind of my heavy-handed approach when I'm kind of fixing these things up. So anyway, let's go ahead and run composer update to get that package that it included. Again, this is just a little helpful assertion package that I wrote. And then, if we're really lucky, I might be able to do vendor bin PHP unit, and we should get a bunch of eyes there. That makes sense, because we basically, we got a little warning from PHP unit 12 here. Wow, lots of warnings. That's annoying. Okay, cool. Found metadata found in doc comment for method authorize. Am I still running PHP unit 9? That's strange. Let's fix these exceptions. Okay, we don't need the example test anymore, so let's get rid of that, and then let's fix these. I should see a bunch of eyes and then a couple dots, because some of these tests should run out of the box. We definitely shouldn't have any failures, though, so let's fix that first. So let's go into here, test, unit, HTTP, so those are fine. Let's get rid of this example test. That should take care of that. Let's get rid of this example test. That should take care of that. And then let's go look at this user controller update. What's going on here? User controller update test. Oh, I think I know what's going on. I overwrote this, and so it no longer has my use, additional assertions trait. So it's not going to find those now. Okay, let's run this again. There we go. That's what I expect. So minus all these warnings from PHP unit 10 or 12, which we'll get rid of here in a second, we do see now that there are no failures. Everything is quote unquote passing. Now we have a lot of incompletes because the tests that were generated for us are marked as incomplete. So let me see if I can fix this real quick, or at least suppress it, because that is effing annoying. So PHP unit 12, metadata not found. Okay, how can we, yeah, that's fine. I don't mind fixing that. How can we like make it shut up? Can we? It doesn't seem like we can. I thought I'm already running Composer. I should have already been running. Oh, it's claiming I'm running 11. Let's bump this back down to 10.5. I'm curious if I bump it down to 10.5 if that goes away. It's just kind of noisy when we're running our tests. I'm not against it, and I will fix that off stream, but I'd love for it to... There we go. Okay, that's a clearer assessment. And technically, I'm not necessarily running 11 because I'm getting that deprecation. Now, I can clean that up here in a little bit with a shift. There's a free shift for upgrading to annotations. So I'll run that off stream, but at least it's less noisy now. Cool. So we're less noisy. Pretty much everything runs out of the box, otherwise where I defaulted that file. So let's actually go write a test for this. So let's test this one. This was actually one of the reasons the client reached out to me. They have like this archive form that they go and do. So if we go take a look at this, we see here that this view pulls out the latest badge request archive, has some simple pagination, and all kind of just goes from there. And then when they make a request, we mark that unprocessed one for an archive. And then show is pretty straightforward. We just download it, no problem, and then destroy. So I think let's probably focus on like store, show, and destroy. I'm not too worried about index. I'm not really generally worried about simple view pages. If simple view pages are broken, the user is going to let you know that those are broken pretty quick, right? I mean, you're not even going to be able to navigate to these other pages if your index page is broken. So I'm not going to focus on testing some of those during the stream. But I will focus on those two main ones, store, because if store works, then our underlying job has the data that it needs, and we can test that command or job. So we kind of like make sure that the handshake between those two bits of code is working. And then same with the show method. It looked like there was a download bit there, so I think that's helpful. So let's work on show. That's a very easy one. It looked like a one-liner. Yeah, it looks like it just calls response download with whatever implicit model got sent. So I think we could write a test for this very quick. So let's make this work first. So let's go to show. Show, instead of show returns an OK response, let's just, again, that's kind of the default. Let's tweak this to say show initiates badge, or let's just say archive download. That's simple enough. All right, let's get rid of that mark incomplete. Okay, so we did see that the test generator did give us a badge request archive. So that's been created. A user's been created to allow us to act as, and we have everything we need here where we're getting that with that particular model. Now, why is that archive request? It really, okay, that's a bit tricky there. I think we saw this yesterday. If we go look at our app service provider, I think I shorthanded those names, archive request. Yeah, that's strange. I think we type hint it. Yeah, we do. We type hint that. So its name doesn't necessarily matter, I suppose. Is that true? Let's find out. PHP artisan route list. Can you do it that way? Where's archive? Yeah, you can, I guess. You can name it whatever. I guess Laravel doesn't care. I used to think that those have to match up. I used to think that the variable name had to match up with the kind of snake case or studly case, but I guess it doesn't. I guess the type hint's all that matters. Okay, so I think you can say assert download. Yeah, you can say assert download, and then what does this take? So assert download file name. What is our file name? The path. Okay, so we can set this path to be, we can either set it in our factory or we can kind of hard set it ourselves. Now is this faked out, or does this actually try to download it? Assert that the response offers a file download. That's interesting. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter for the moment. Let's just let it run, right? And see what happens. So we can just say like whatever.zip, right? Because really we're in control there. So let's copy this file, vendor bin php unit, and then we'll filter. Let me move. I got a little thing here in my way. Filter that. Call to undefined method badge request archive. Okay, so this is one that didn't get generated for us, and I need to go look at why. But let's go ahead and generate this. PHP artisan make factory badge request archive factory. Cool. Let's get in here. And what does a badge request? I'm just gonna go look at the create table. What is the badge request? Oh, that's not it. Badge request archives table. What does this have? Not much. Okay. So let's jump in here. We'll steal this. Let me just borrow that. So we'll get rid of that. I'll take this. We'll put that just to kind of remind me. Okay, so path would be like this faker path, file path. Okay, that's good enough. Process that is going to be null to begin with. We don't do that, of course. And then this is going to be the requested user. So we'll just say user factory. And let's import that. And then I'm going to go ahead and fix that processed at real quick. So let's just say public function processed is a state. Does it return static? I always forget. And then we'll return this state, and we'll simply just say processed at, I think was the name. Badge request archive processed at, yep. It is not null. It would be like now sub day. And we'll shut that down. All right, I think that should work. All right, let's try this again. Call to undefined method badge. Oh, we need to link it up. I wish they did this automatically. Badge request archive. There we go. Let's say use has factory. There you are. Let's try that again. Call to undefined method user factory. What? User. How is user not has factory? Thought that was the default. Oh, again, this was originally Laravel 7, so there's no like original. All right, there is a user factory in here, but it's old. I don't think we have name. It looks like. Let's go check. Users table. We do have name. Did I drop it? Create, add deleted at. Maybe we dropped name? Do we not have name? I don't know. I wish you could see like a, oh wait, you can do PHP artisan, is it about? Is it model about? Model show, I think, user. Yeah, it looks like, okay, we do have first name, last name. There's actually a lot of stuff in here. I probably should just regenerate it. Well, let's start with what's needed. Let's change name to first and last name. So let's bring that back. We'll say first name is first name. We'll just get by with whatever little bit of stuff we need here. So we'll say last. Let's see if that's enough. All right, location ID can't be null. We're just going to fill these out as we go along here. So we'll say location ID is location factory. I think we're gonna get, unfortunately, in this big dance of that thing doesn't have a factory now. I don't know why it didn't generate the factories for this. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. I don't want to build factories for 25 minutes, and this should have, but Shift is clearly telling me that it didn't for some reason. So I'm gonna figure out that reason. I'm gonna fix it. But more importantly, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue building out these factories that need to be built out until this test runs with an appropriate failure, in my case, where it doesn't find the file path for download. That's what it should fail on, because I just put in whatever.zip. So I think the thing to do is to stop here and let's stop here and get this working instead of watching me bounce back and forth generating factories for 25 minutes. But first, let me check out the comments, because I know a couple people popped in there. So let's see what we say in the comments first, and then we'll stream again tomorrow at the same time and continue running with actually writing these tests. So, hey Juan, how's it going? James jumped in. Hey, yeah, thanks for joining. What sort of state was the app when you received it? Was it a simple upgrade to 11? Yeah, the first stream, you can watch it. Basically, the app was, I built the app originally. Again, this app's been around for about 15 years over a couple different iterations. But about 5 years ago, I rewrote it from vanilla PHP, old PHP, like PHP 5.3, 5.4 kind of stuff. And rewrote it in Laravel. At the time, the framework, I think, was Laravel 5.8 at the time I originally wrote it. And then I did upgrade it to 7. So the state of it is fine. It's a very simple intranet application to just, as we see here, download these badge requests. So it's just a form with an administrative section where they can download a zip archive. But yeah, to that point, and as I talked about yesterday, everything's super conventional. I love making Laravel as conventional as possible. It makes for an easy upgrade. We were able to run Shift and upgrade from Laravel 7 to Laravel 11 with converting to that SPACY HTML package in under an hour. And I fully believe the application is functional. And in fact, yesterday I ran npm install and PHP Artisan serve, and I was able to log in and use the application as I would have expected. So again, it's only a few screens. I can visually see that it works. I'm just taking the opportunity to write some tests now, so I have a little more confidence, because again, the client comes back to me every few years, every 3 or 4 years, and is like, hey, upgrade this or add this feature, or we need to make this compliant for IT or whatever. So anyway, hopefully that answers your questions. Yes, Juan, we are creating a lot more factories. So I'm going to install that Laravel Shift factory generator. I'm going to install this and attempt to run it locally and see why it's not generating those additional factories. So I'm just going to do this dance for a little bit, get this to work, because it should be compatible for 10 and 11. So I'm very curious why it didn't make these very simple models like location. I mean, this thing is super simple. Maybe it's due to this. I don't know. Maybe it's due to this Scout stuff. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to see why. But anyway, it didn't generate factories for these. So I'm going to stop the stream here. I'm going to generate all these factories. I'm going to get that test to a proper failure, and we'll pick up there tomorrow. So thanks everybody for joining live. I'll make sure to get that scheduled and shared now, but we'll meet at the same time tomorrow. So see you then.